Shalom. All praises to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, elder bishops of Great Millstone. And shalom to the prophets of that body, and shalom to the 144,000 and 1/3. May peace and blessings be upon your households. Okay, things are happening, things are moving. And as you can see or feel in the spirit, things are being done by the powers that be to destroy the current infrastructure so they can bring in something new, something more reliable. Okay? Now, I believe in the last day or two, there's been an Amazon Web Services cloud outage. All right? Half the internet goes down after Amazon cloud outage, leaving millions unable to use Ring, Alexa, banking apps. As experts say, we can't rule out a cyber attack. Okay? And cyber attacks have been happening, on a small scale and a large scale. We've been seeing that over the last, for the duration. We've been seeing these cyber attacks happening as well for the last couple of years, I believe. All right, and these things are being done, until they actually turn off that switch, which is ultimately going to lead to a newer solution, right? And I chucked in search engine. I haven't started using Chat GPT yet. Just chuck it in Google. Any kind of questions that I have. Is a digital ID a better solution compared to the current way that or the digital method better compared to how we're currently doing things, right? And there's a lot of pros and cons, okay? And I also chucked in about the RF to the I to the D as well, but we'll get to that in a second. Let's just play this new segment, all right? Go to scripture first. 1 Peter 5:8. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. All right. One more second. Scripture I want to get as well. The days are evil. The days are evil. King James Version. Ephesians 5:16. Redeeming the time because the days are evil. Redeeming the time because the days are evil. And the days are indeed evil. Evil means bad times, woes. Okay. All right. Let's go with the news.
A major outage has caused half the internet to go down, with millions of people left unable to access sites including Snapchat, Fortnite, and Duolingo. The problem lies with Amazon Web Services, a cloud computing service that powers much of the infrastructure behind many websites. The outage has also affected Amazon services, including Amazon.com, Amazon Alexa, Ring, and Prime Video. The issues began around 8 a.m. this morning, with more than 6,000 reports from affected US customers. Another 1,600 users and counting are affected here in the UK, according to Downdetector. Jake Moore, a tech expert and security advisor at ESET, thinks the huge outage is likely due to an internal error at Amazon. However, he says we can't rule out a cyber attack at this stage. Speaking to the Daily Mail, he said, while a cyber attack can't be ruled out until Amazon Web Services releases its full post-incident report, there's no current evidence of hacking, data breaches, or coordinated attacks.
So they say. Let's see what else is anything else they say. I think she pretty much summarized it.
At QuickFit, our customers drive away happy every time. Do we tickle them?
Commercials. Okay. The outage has also affected Amazon services, including Amazon.com, Amazon Alexa, Ring, and Amazon Prime. And Amazon is a huge powerhouse, man. They pretty much got a monopoly on online purchasing. And a lot of people, like that was that movie with Sylvester Stallone, where he was in that cryo. What was it called? What was that movie, man? Where they freeze him for about 30, 40 years. Cryogenics, is it cryogenics? Something along those lines. And it was when he comes out of that chamber, he's still young and all that, and he goes from 1996 into the future. There's only Taco. Is it Taco Bell? Is the only place that you can eat at? That's the only place serving food, something along those lines. It's like, yeah, it's kind of like that, where Amazon right now is pretty much got a monopoly, on online purchasing. I mean, obviously the internet is huge, but Amazon is a huge powerhouse, right? And if Amazon is taken out of the equation, a lot of people, are going to be looking for a solution, right? And along with that, and along with it affecting the internet, banking apps, things of that nature. Okay, so you got to understand. What did they mention here? Banking apps. Money comes into play, right? So when they're going to keep fiddling about with this, going back and forth, turning off lights, turning off the light switch, turning it on, turning it off, cutting it on, cutting it on, cutting it off, cutting it on, cutting it off, cutting it on. They're going to keep doing that until they actually cut off the light switch. And then they're going to propose a new solution, right? But I also chucked in here, right? Because I'm not a techie, right? So I chucked in here, I said, if there is a major cyber attack, will digital identification help in that scenario? Digital identification could both help and hinder a major cyber attack, while advanced digital IDs can improve security, right? Advanced through strong authentication methods like biometrics and help with rapid response. A large-scale centralized digital ID system could also become a single point of failure, making it a prime target for sophisticated attacks. How digital identification can help? There's nothing foolproof. All they're going to do is give you a better solution than the one you currently have, but the one they're going to propose is going to have less holes in it. The one that they currently have has many holes. All right. So this is going to give you, out of two bad situations, they're going to give you a better bad situation. If that makes sense, right? All right. They're going to give you the best out of a worse situation, right? So how digital identification can help. Enhanced security. Modern digital IDs use strong authentication such as multi-factor authentication and biometrics to prevent unauthorized access to personal data and systems. Rapid response. If a digital ID is compromised in a physical sense, example, a stolen phone, right, it can be immediately revoked and reissued, which is often more secure than traditional physical documents. Okay, so they're not going to say, oh yeah, if this happens, the best way forward is to take the CHIP. They're not going to do that. They're going to do it in small doses. They're going to let you. They're going to, like when you come into the truth, like the elders would say, milk scriptures, right? So you don't choke on the meat. In this case, on the left-hand side, these damn devils are giving you this demonic milk, so you can kind of digest it until you give you that real meat, which they're going to take because they're going to be a solution to the current hell that they'll be going through. Because, like, for example, a lot of these women are complaining about their SNAP benefits and all that, and all these benefits being cut off. Banking apps not working and all that kind of thing. They're going to give you a solution, because once your back is pushed into the corner, once you're in the corner, they're going to give you a solution. So what they're going to do is they're going to cause a problem. They're going to see the reaction, and the solution they're going to provide is going to be the CHIP, which will be the charagma. But this digital ID is just a prelude to it. Okay, it's like the foundation to the RF to the I to the D. Okay, all right. So this is what this is what they may do, possibly. So we're just looking at, we're just looking at it at the moment, right? But these devils are up to something, of course. Okay. How digital identification can help. So they're going to give you pros, they're going to give you cons, but they're going to give you more pros than cons, right? Strong authentication. They allow for more secure online transactions. Okay, it says if a digital ID is compromised in physical sense, example, stolen phones, right? Now, I want to get out this new segment as well here. Now, there's a recent one in London, okay? 10,000 UK phones being sent to China, stolen. No one's Oh, okay, here we go. A recent police operation has disrupted an international gang suspected of sending up to 40,000 stolen phones. I thought it was 10,000 from the UK to China, including, there is a 10,000, including 10,000 in a single operation that was triggered by a victim tracking their phone. And we've been seeing these videos of these guys on mopeds, especially in the UK, going to women that are at the bus stop, right, on the phone or whatever, just grabbing their phones out of their hand. They can't grab a CHIP, can they? All right. So this is, you gotta put all the pieces together, and it becomes a picture, and you get more clarity, let you know that these motherfuckers are up to something. Okay, and it's all going where? To the NWO, which is a CHIP, right? And that's how they're gonna control everyone, because Esau, the so-called white man, wants to be all-knowing, all-seeing, right? They're trying to mimic the Most High. All right. A recent police operation has disrupted. Okay, where should we? I read that part. Between 10,000 a single operation that was triggered by a victim tracking their phone. The operation began when a stolen phone was found at a warehouse near Heathrow Airport, leading police to a large criminal network, resulting in 46 arrests. Let's see what else is here. 40% of all stolen phones in London, they export it. This is UK to China. December 2024. So this is less than a year old, all this stuff. So let's go back to this. So let's go back to the stolen part. So rapid response. If digital ID is compromised in a physical sense, example, a stolen phone, it can be immediately revoked and reissued. All right. Which for the short duration, a lot of these phone companies and these people that issue phones, when you get a contract, they might give you a phone, then you pay in monthly increments, pay for the phone, and you pay for the usage, the tariff or whatever. They're going to make a ton of cash because you're going to be buying more phones, right? Okay. So rapid response. If a digital ID is compromised in a physical sense, example, a stolen phone, it can be immediately revoked and reissued, which is often more secure than a traditional physical documents, right? So they're all pushing the digital, right? But then there's holes within that as well, stolen phones, because everything's in your phone, right? Your phone is like your sidearm these days, the way a gun was for the cowboy in the Wild West. They didn't leave the home without it, right? Their hat and their strap. And in this day and age, people have their holster on the side of their hip with their phone in there. Sometimes have one on each side, 2 phones. So a phone is an essential part, right? Staying in touch with loved ones, abroad, seeing their face, keeping track of your children, right? Business, emails, messaging. So it's a very core part, intricate part, and a real core part of this world. So, and we've been seeing these commercials and these infomercials and these comedic type situations that they put online and in movies where people say, even Cat Williams made a joke about it. He's saying that they're gonna, in the future, they might make a phone so small you won't be able to find it. It'll be like in your mouth. It'll be like a tablet. I don't know, something along those lines, or it'll be inside your ear. The phone will just be built inside you, like Inspector Gadget, right? You'll be like an Inspector Gadget, where when he talks to somebody, the Inspector Gadget, like an aerial, came out of his thumb, and then he could use his pinky finger to speak to somebody as a receiver or whatever, right? But his phone was a hand. So that's what, the CHIP is going to be more foolproof, where the only way that could be stolen is if somebody actually let's just say chops your hand off, right? So behavioral analysis, let's go here. Technologies like behavioral biometrics can create user profiles to detect anomalies in real time, helping to identify and block AI-driven or other sophisticated attacks. All right. Then they've got the risks. Centralized digital ID system could become a honeypot for hackers. All right. Large-scale data breaches, systematic disruption. Okay. And then they're going to propose, more than likely, with all these kinds of failures. Then I chucked it here. Is it a better solution for people to take the CHIP into their hands in terms of security, okay, against cyber attacks? Now, AIOV responded saying, taking the CHIP into the hand is not universally a better solution for security against cyber attacks, and the benefits depend heavily on the specific security measures used and your threat model. So obviously, what they're saying is, it's like if you're buying a Mercedes Benz, for example, you got the AMGs, you got the SL 500s, you got the sports, you got the 18 to 22 or 20-inch rims on it. You got everything with the whole shebang on it, right? And then you got your basic Mercedes, right? Your A150s, or whatever, right? Or it's like in America, you buy what do you call them? The SRTs. You got the SRTs you got the sort of the higher end type, souped up. You got the ones with the sound system in it, with the subs in the boot and all that, right? And then you got your basic one, right? So two different types. Now there's going to be different types of CHIPs as well. All right, you're going to have your basic one, and you're probably going to have your higher end one as well. So they're saying, and the benefits depend heavily on the specific security measures used and your threat model. While implants offer greater physical security by making them harder to steal than a card, they are still vulnerable to cyber attacks like cloning, skimming, and relay attacks if not properly secured. If not, so basically they are vulnerable, but they have to be properly secured. So there is a solution, if not properly secured with encryption and other safeguards. All right, in some cases, implants could be less secure than traditional methods if they lack proper protections or if the implant itself is used to facilitate attacks. So basically, they're saying that CHIP is a better solution. The only thing is you've got to make sure that it's got all the security measures in place so it doesn't happen. So pros and cons again. So for what I've read so far with the digital aspect and what's currently happening, the digital aspect, out of all the three, from the digital ID or the digital method to the RFID, right? The better solution, which is basically the digital aspect, is just a prelude to the RFID, right? The better, from what I've read so far, the RFID seems to be more foolproof. It just depends on the technical aspect and how foolproof you can make it. It's like a lid on something. You either screw it tight or you screw it tighter. Okay, so with a CHIP, they're going to try and just, they're going to propose it to be more of a foolproof method. Because once the lights go out, people are saying right now, while they're comfortable sitting in their recliners, sipping on some tea, I ain't taking it. I'm not taking it. Fuck that. I ain't taking it. When push comes to shove, they will take it. Okay, especially those Israelites that don't know about Yahweh Bashim Yashai and they don't have the covering of Yahweh Bashim Yashai. Okay, so what they plan to do is break down the old and bring in the new. The same way these crackers left the old world and came to America or Asareth, which is a new world. The same way they're trying to really, really take it to the new world they wanted. But Yahweh Bashim Yashai is going to step in and stop it. All right. Okay, 1 second. Ephesians 5:15 and 16. See then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise. Verse 16. Redeeming the time because the days are evil. Circumspectly means just aware of your surroundings. All right. Keep your head out of bullshit all the time. Because a lot of these things, if you look at YouTube, they're pumping a hell of a lot of decent movies for free. Only thing is the damn commercials, right? But you can bypass that. Okay. They're putting a heck of a lot of movies, a lot of these nostalgic vibrations, a lot of what was they doing? Oh yeah, a lot of these bullshit stories. Brakti Habashim Ashai 555. Or a lot of these bullshit stories. All right. in terms of like, is Tupac still alive? And Omar, is it Omar Gooding, the one who's in The Baby Boy, and Hanging with Mr. Cooper? Because I used to watch Hanging with Mr. Cooper back in the early '90s, mid '90s. All right, is it Omar Gooding, the chubby guy in Baby Boy? But anyway, you know, it's Tyrese and him having a fight. Is so and so is cloned? Is so and so alive? Is so and so a demon? He's got, is he part lizard or whatever? The Diddy news, Epstein news, Trump. Obviously Trump. What's Trump's diet and all that. We don't give a shit about Trump's diet, but the Lord is keeping him alive anyway. Okay, to receive judgment when that time comes. All these kinds of news, so people are going through affliction, and to take them away from the affliction, Esau's putting a lot of especially for so-called blacks, Hispanics, and natives, and Jake in general, they're putting a lot of ninja news, right? Ninja shit, right? So they can be immersed and engrossed in that rather than being circumspect. So hence a reason, nothing wrong with watching ninja shit, just have a little laugh or whatever, watch a little Mike Epps stand up or Cat Williams or whatever, right? Nothing wrong with that in your downtime. But you should be watching the apostles, elders, the men of great millstone, and likewise camps that are part of the body, right? That teach the truth of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai. And it's keeping up to date, keeping abreast of the news as well, what's going on, and knowing what time it is, okay? Because the scriptures state it, because this is the time that it is. Ephesians 5:15 and 16 again. See then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise. Verse 16, redeeming the time because the days are evil. And indeed they are, right? Psalms 34 and 17. All right, and the righteous are the elect. Well, the elect, because they're going to be covered. You 2/3 are not the righteous. The 2/3 are based in the States. And then you got, or the ground zero, then you got the unelect, other members around the world. And the heathen, the Lord don't hear them MFers, man. 2 Corinthians 6 verse 54 lets you know that they're spittle. So why would the Lord hear them? Damn devils. Okay, but the Lord hears you elect members, whoever you are. And no matter what you look like, by the way. All right, as long as you are from the loins of an Israelite man, you are an Israelite. Don't matter what the mother is, and it don't matter what you look like. In the kingdom, we'll get our original comely looks back. All right. Psalms 34 and 17. The righteous cry, and the Lord, Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, heareth, and delivereth them out of all their troubles. Right? Isaiah Naya Hatazanaya Makal Tazaratam Ya. I believe that means, you get I'm not perfect with the Hebrew, right? So, the Lord delivers you, man, out of these troubles. The main thing is that you call upon the name of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai and you believe. All right? That name's going to be, he's going to be called upon a lot by the elect, man, because Lord willing, if you're part of that number, you're going to need a lot of help, man. And there's a confidence and a faith and a belief that we have in the name as well. I hope for elect members. All right? So when these things happen, and when those lights go out, okay, the Lord will deliver, the elect out of all their troubles. All right. Now let's just go to what's the other news? That bit of news. Yeah, this one. It's not long, 3 minutes 51 seconds, and that's that. And then I'm gonna leave it there. Right. It's about 5:59 in the morning, Wednesday. What the heck is the date? 22nd, right? Yeah, 22nd. Braktia Hawabashimashai, man. November's. Hey, it just popped in my mind. November's next Saturday. This year is going quick. Lord willing, it speeds up even faster, man. Lord willing.
Well, joining us now is Thomas Hyslop. He spent 23 years leading federal cybercrime investigations and digital forensics. He's a University of South Florida professor and former resident agent in charge of the Defense Criminal Investigative Service of the Defense Department. Good morning. Quite a resume there. I'm glad we have you. Thank you. Anna. All right. So walk us through all of this a little bit. I mean, is this kind of like, you've got servers trying to talk to one another with the wrong phone number? Can you dumb this down for us? Explain how it all happened.
Yeah. So the domain name system, the internet protocol addresses is how servers talk to each other. And when you go to the internet, a website, for example, you type in, Amazon.com. Well, the domain name system, DNS, maps that domain name, Amazon.com, to the IP address. And when that system broke, people couldn't get to the actual servers because the internet address wasn't talking to the IP addresses, and that was all internal to Amazon.
Got it. Okay, so that's what's going on at Amazon, but there's really only a few large companies that are focused on the cloud, that are used. There's only a few of them. So what does this incident reveal about how dependent the world has become on just a few?
Yeah, so you basically have three large ones, right? You have AWS at Amazon, you have Microsoft Azure, and you have Google Cloud Computing. And because of efficiencies and cost reductions, millions of corporations have switched to using those systems. But it inherently adds vulnerabilities when everyone switches to one system, right? You have this, as we saw yesterday, the single point of failure on one major AWS data center. And so, ideally, these corporations and Amazon and Microsoft and Google will look at.
And you got to understand, right? A lot of these organizations, especially Amazon itself, employs a lot of people around the world. A lot of people. Okay, it's a chain reaction. Amazon's got his fingers in a lot of different pies, man. All right, so when the lights go out and they propose a new solution, okay, you know what that's going to be.
Adding a redundancy where you can have the data stored across multiple data centers and regions. So in this instance, where the data center in Virginia was affected, if this had been set up for redundancy across different data centers and different regions of AWS, this issue might not have been so large because they could have pivoted and had those other data centers handle the load.
Yeah, well, immediately you think, gosh, could something sinister be happening? And even if nothing sinister is happening here, it exposes potential weaknesses, doesn't it? The bad actors might go, hey, I might see an opening here. So, what's the first thing investigators are looking for when a massive outage like this happens?
Yeah, like you said, thankfully this was nothing nefarious, but it did highlight those that potential for a single point of failure. Right, if you take out this.
Nothing nefarious. Okay, let me go to the definition of the word nefarious. Okay, she's talking about bad actors. A lot of these reporters and these people on the screen are bad actors. They're actually actors, failed actors that are in these kind of jobs, by the way, and they're all controlled by the powers that be. Some of them are actually oblivious. They just think that they're doing their job, and this information that's been fed to them. But some of them actually know what time it is. Definition of nefarious: typically of an action or activity wicked or criminal. But it is nefarious. But you're going to say that it's not nefarious, right? So
single data center, whether it's the power or something even worse. So investigators are going to, if this was a nefarious actor doing this, they're going to look at these single point of failures, why it was targeted, looking for that digital forensics where they can identify who potentially could have attacked one of these data centers or affected the power grid to that data center, and then try to investigate what happened at that point. But again, you got to and then try to investigate what happened at that point. But again, you got to and then try centers or affected the power grid to that could have attacked one of these data centers or affected the power grid.
You mentioned affecting the power grid as well. Right, and I know a lot of yous, I don't know in the States too much, but I'm sure you're seeing your light switches dim, then brighten up again, then dim and brighten up. I don't recollect that ever happening when I was a youngster in the 80s and 90s and all that. You bought them 100-watt light bulbs, your room was bright. Right, now we're just coming into these weird scenarios, and you feel like you're in a so-called third world country. That's because the Lord is just squeezing the life out of the West. All right, it's the rise of the East, the rise of the Israelites.
To that data center, and then try to investigate what happened at that point. But again, you gotta mitigate these attacks by adding redundancy into the systems and decentralizing the system, really.
Yeah, and it just makes you think, I'm just going to always carry around a little bit of cash just in case we have little hiccups like this along the way, because it could have been a whole lot worse. And I'm somebody who doesn't carry cash, so I need to start doing that. Thomas Heislip, thank you so much. Appreciate you being here on Morning in America. Thank you for watching.
Well, she said some common sense shit there. Yeah, carry some cash. Have a couple $100 in the house, couple £100 in the house. When things go down, you're gonna need it for your basics, right? The store will be open. Grab some lighters, for lighting any fires or whatever, any non-perishable items. It's common sense. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it there now. So we can see the powers that be are doing what they've got to do to get rid of the old methods and bring in the new, right? Whether it's the digital ID and they're proposing that just to try and test the waters, and a lot of people are bucking up. And the way to put people into a corner so they agree, so they come compliant, is to put them in a situation where they'll be looking for that light at the end of the tunnel. And that light at the end of the tunnel for these people that take it will be the charagma, which will be the RF to the I to the D, which will mean that their lights will be on. They'll be able to buy goods and services. Revelation 30:16, you'll be buying and selling, right? You won't be able to buy and sell without it. They'll be able to work if they, whatever job they can find at that time when things go down, which is very soon. They'll be able to have somewhat of optimism again. So first they have to, give you, put you into a hellish situation, and then they're going to give you a solution. All right. And the solution is not going to be something that you would take in a world where everything is hunky-dory. If things were like it was right now, put it this way, if things were the way they were, like it was back in, say, 1990, 1991, they were like that right now, and people were just living lovely, whatever, and people propose, yeah, you got to take, everything's going digital, you got to take this, and then, everything's going digital, do you agree to it? They're going to say, fuck no, because everything's hunky-dory, right? Obviously, if you put them in a predicament where, the lights go out, you don't have access to your money, you can't pay bills, you've got no food, water, you can't wash your ass, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to take the CHIP. And all this digital talk is all leading towards that. All right, but we'll see how Yahweh Bashim Ashai does it. All right, but anyway, I'm going to leave it there now. All praises to Yahweh Bashim Ashai, Bashim Akakwadash. Once again, double honors to our apostles and elders, elder bishops of Great Millstone. Shalom to the prophets of that body as well. Shalom to the 144,000 and 1/3. We're going home soon, Yasharallah. Just hold on tight. Stay prayed up and watch our elders and prophets, man. All right? You know as well as I do, man. Praying to Yahweh Bashim Ashai is a great comfort, man. A very great comfort. It's balm upon your pain. All right? Anyway, shalom.